heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people. Hello and welcome to another 3AB in Today program. Thank you for joining us as you do each and every day. And Yvonne, we have some special guests here today.
We do.
You know these folk, don't you?
I do. I'm privileged to know them.
All right. We have John and Rosemary Malkiewycz, all the way from down under, Australia, or how should you say it?
Australia.
Australia.
Oh, she's done pretty good.
Is that pretty good, Australia? Not bad, Yvonne. There you go.
I didn't know I said it like that.
Yeah, and you said can't a while ago, right? And
Can't.
Yeah, can't. I can't do this or can't do that. And so we say can't, and sometimes, depending on where you're from, you say can't. Can't do this or can't do that. But you know what's great about it? We understand each other, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And very well, and we understand more than the outward appearance, we understand the heart.
That's right.
And so we met, how many years ago was probably the first time that we...
2004.
Okay, so quite a while ago, 14 years or so ago. Mm-hmm. And we found these folk love the Lord.
Yes.
They were traveling across Australia putting in dishes so people could receive 3ABN.
That was a real good job.
That was...
Yeah,
it was real easy. You enjoyed the travel and you got to meet lots of people.
Didn't have a big production center and crews and satellite bills to cover and
simple life.
Administration.
Actually, 2004 was the first time we came here. Mm-hmm. We'd been doing the work down there before that.
Yeah, I thought we probably knew of you and knew there, but it's been 14 years since you actually came here. Probably 15 or 16 years or so, because I know they were traveling. They had this little green vehicle, they called it Kermit.
Okay.
Kermit
like
not easy being green.
It got known all over the world as Kermit. What's happened to Kermit?
Yeah, and you know Yvonne sang the original duet with Kermit the Frog, It's Not Easy Being Green, so, on Sesame Street. So
actually, the first time you talked to us was through a telephone. And we were out in the outback of Australia, and I can remember we were sitting there and a big camel came up and wanted to take part in it too.
It was a New Year's Eve special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a telephone link up.
Well, what an amazing run you've had, and still have, we'll call it, because all of these years to think what you were doing would turn into what you're doing now, to be able to reach millions of people in the Pacific Rim area through the satellites and through the downlinks and through VAST, depending how you want to say it. That system, we'll talk a little bit about that too. But before we do, and we go any farther, first of all, we're so thankful that you're here. They're brothers and sisters in the Lord.
Yes.
But we have some special music today. Brother Adrian Westney Jr., and he's going to be playing on the piano, Redeemed.
Oh, great.
Amen.
Oh, what a gift.
Yeah,
What a
absolutely.
wonderful
And
gift.
he sings too, of
has.
course.
Oh,
You know, yeah, some people have all the talent.
I
you know.
know.
They sing, they play, no telling what else they can do. You
well,
know,
you
but
sing and play. You sing and you
well,
play
I do,
guitar.
but it's a different league.
I don't play an instrument.
It's a different league. I just do my own little thing, you know. But no, he does a great job. Thank you so
did.
much.
Thank you,
for
Brother
what you do.
Adrian.
We're back here with Brother John and Rosemary.
I was going to say, my mum says she loves it when a man plays the piano.
Yeah. Okay.
Really enjoys that.
A lot of these guys, like he and Tim Parton, I call it they dominate the piano because they just hit it so hard.
That's a
They're
good way of
strong,
describing it.
And they just really, you know, really dominate. Maybe that's what she likes, how they play with such confidence, you know. But there's
She
some
just
great
loves a man
women
doing it.
There's some great women piano players as well. And it's a gift. All of it's a gift from God.
That's right.
We each have gifts, no matter you're sitting at home saying, boy, I can't do this or that. I see guitar players and I'm like, boy, I wish I could play. I really would love. In fact, when I was younger, I was probably 16, 17 years old. I remember I told my dad once, man, I wish I could play like that. He said, no, you don't. I said, no, I do. Dad, we had a guy over at the house, Cliff Martin, and he was a great guitar player. And I said, man, I'd like to play like Cliff. He said, well, I don't see you practicing very much. And if you want to play like Cliff,
good point.
you know, at that time, Cliff was probably late 40s. He said, I've known him all his life. He plays the guitar every day, and he loves it. And you want to go play basketball. You want to be outside playing, you know, whatever you can do outside. You only play when it's raining outside and you can't do something else. So you really don't want to play like Cliff. If you did, you'll be playing every day. Then he said, now your brother Tommy, he really wants to play the piano because he played every day. And so therefore, to this day, Tommy's a great musician and I'm just kind of stumbling along. Anyway, that's not what we're here today talking about. We're talking to John Rosemary. We want to find out about 3ABN Australia. You've got some great reports. I'm going to turn you loose with it.
Okay. Do you want to start?
Oh, I want to start. We've just enjoyed having 3ABN spring camp meeting here in America, and we thought, you know, people have been saying, why don't you have one of these in Australia, Danny?
Sure.
And so it's now 15 years this August that we started with 3ABN Australia, and we thought we'll take the step in faith, hoping that the viewers that will see this program today will be encouraged to come along and be part of 3ABN Homecoming in Australia.
Okay.
And we want to share a little bit about where it is and where you can go and how you can be involved, because
Absolutely.
this is not the same as camp meetings that we normally see in our country. This is more of a spiritual feast where you get to hear the truth in a way, in
Similar
a powerful
to what
way.
we did here.
Similar to what you did here.
Now, did I understand right, or I heard that there were people here that said they wanted to go to Australia?
Yeah, we're worried about that
No,
now.
I'm not. I'm not. I think it's
People from
great.
our camp meeting, when they heard about it, said, well, we want to go to Australia. We want to be there. And you know what?
Wonderful.
I have a feeling some folk will.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It'd be great to get people from outside of Australia to come and join
Absolutely.
us. If you're in Asia, come. In Europe, if you ever want to come to Australia, this is
Absolutely.
the time to come.
I hear from everyone that we talk to while we're here, it's our dream to come to America. Well, this is your
To
chance.
Australia.
To Australia, sorry.
Yeah.
This is your chance.
Now, we're having the homecoming, and we've got a venue for the homecoming, but we're having another rally as well after that. And the homecoming is going to be at Avondale Memorial Church in Cooranbong in New South Wales from the Thursday 11th of October in the evening to the afternoon of Sunday, October 14. So it's
Okay,
going to go
11th through the
Thursday night,
14th.
all Friday, all Sabbath and Sunday morning.
Avondale College?
Why it's a spiritual feast. No, the church, the Avondale Memorial Church, just outside the college.
Oh, okay. All right.
The big
Wonderful.
church.
Yeah, the big church. Wonderful. We've been there before. The people come out and support. It's great. And we love meeting the folk there and getting to make reacquainting with some of the people. It's neat.
And then we're going to have the following weekend from the Friday night and the Sabbath, 19th and 20th of October, we'll be in Launceston in Tasmania just for that Friday night Sabbath. And we're going to be doing a rally down there for the people in Tasmania because it's harder for them to get to the mainland to be able to come up to Cooranbong.
The mainland's the big island.
Yeah, Tasmania is a state
There's
of
a little
Australia.
teardrop on the bottom, at the very bottom,
Yes.
on the east coast.
So we've got a map that we can show people where it's going to be.
Absolutely.
So we'll
Let's
have a
do
look
it.
at the map.
Let's do it.
There we go. There's Australia, a beautiful country. And that's Currumbong, where that red dot is, where
Okay.
we will be from the 11th to the 14th. And then we go down to Launceston, down in Tasmania,
Oh,
for
okay.
the 19th and 20th.
Nice.
Is that a couple-hour flight, maybe?
A couple of hours from
Yeah.
Sydney.
Okay.
It's interesting, Danny.
The venue is yet to be announced
Mm-hmm.
for Launceston.
You know, Yvonne, Australia is known for its kangaroos and its
Yeah.
koalas. Tasmania is known for the little Tasmanian devils. So
Yeah.
everyone who comes, you get a chance to see these things.
That'll be interesting. Now,
Absolutely. So the camp meeting then, we're going to have quite a few folk from here.
Uh-huh.
I think Yvonne and I will be there. I think
Yes.
Pastor John and Angie Lomacang will be there. Greg and Jill Morricone will be there. And Ryan Day, who just sang on, did an incredible job singing himself and with you on More Than Wonderful on this project. I think Ryan will be there.
Yay.
And who else is going to be there?
Tim Parton.
Tim Parton,
yes.
great piano player, great musician, and singer.
And singer.
He's one of those that's got it all, too.
I know.
And Ryan is also a preacher.
Ryan's a preacher,
sings
Seventh-day Adventist
and
preacher,
preaches, so-
absolutely. And so,
And John
yeah.
preaches. John
And who
Lomacang.
knows who else, but we're going to do a lot of the music from this brand new project, Give Him Glory, that literally was songs written for the three angels' messages for present truth. And so if there's ever a time that we needed to be giving it, it's now. And we look forward to taking this same message to Australia and get the message in music, where a lot of people will listen to music, but they won't listen to
That's
preaching.
very true.
And they're afraid of Daniel and Revelation. They tell us, a lot of the churches, in fact, one of the writers, Lanny Wolf, had said, I was always afraid of Daniel and Revelation because my church never taught it. But now, of course, he supports it, believes it, and I believe he's going to continue to preach it, but he's definitely preaching it through his music.
Well, we're going to have a couple of concerts, including going through Give Him Glory, the pillars, oh, well, not the pillars, but the camp
Yes.
meeting
Give
project.
him glory,
And also we'll have other music from some local people as well as the
Okay.
3ABN group. And we'll have Pastor Jeff Pastor Jeff Yulden, who is a very well-known Australian evangelist, but he's been around the world doing evangelism as well. He said he'll speak. Dr. Alan Lindsay from Keepers of the Flame has said that he will do something. We have young Charissa Fong. She's very well known. We have her on 3ABN. And also Gary Kent from The Incredible Journey has said that he will speak.
Yeah.
So they all appear on 3ABN. And so we've got them lined up as well.
All right. It's going to be great. So you're inviting everybody that's watching to come?
Yes, definitely. But they just have to pay for themselves.
Oh, you got to pay for your own way there. Well, I think they know that by now. So,
But we'll also have more information on our website as we organise more.
okay,
Because
we'll put that address
we're
up
still
pretty
getting
soon.
that done.
Okay.
Yeah, so then
right.
that information will be available soon, so people can then book some accommodation and book their, however they're going to get there,
Sure.
and
okay.
come along.
And then go ahead.
I'm sorry. So this is a historic event because
It
it's
is.
the very first homecoming after 15 years,
That's right. Yeah.
So what a beautiful...
Because 3ABN's a family, so we're having
Absolutely.
homecoming.
There you go. Okay, I like
Love it.
it.
People say that 3ABN's their family, so
Absolutely.
let's get together.
Nice, nice. And you
do.
never really know, you know, it's so great when we have camp meeting here because you don't know who's watching until they come and they say, oh, we're so blessed by 3ABN and of course Dare to Dream. And so I had to put that shameless plug in. And so, you know, you just never know, and it's so great for you to connect with people who are watching, and they love to meet you and just kind of get a personal glimpse of who you are. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's so spiritually rejuvenating.
Absolutely.
I think that's really, it's really key.
You know, Danny, you mentioned vast. Boss. And I know there are some viewers who may be watching this that are watching on VAST for the first time, or they've been watching it for a period of time. We want to invite especially you, because we know that many remote areas of Australia don't have an opportunity, but this is an opportunity that you can take. In Tasmania, for example, there are quite a few VAST viewers, and we want to encourage you to come to our program to meet this family. And I think you will be richly blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and our family goes outside the Seventh Adventist Church. Family of God is all of us who love Jesus and are willing to publicly proclaim.
You don't have to be a
I'm the child of the King. You know,
No.
so this is for everybody. If you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian, maybe you want to be. We actually had someone who came from Pakistan who said he really wanted to be a Christian, watches 3ABN, and I'm told gave his heart to the Lord here at camp meeting. That really just finalized. He'd been in the process, but came all the way. So maybe you want to come to the 3ABN Australia homecoming there at Avondale. And so I think it's going to be a great time. We're going to look forward to it. We're going to pray God's richest blessings for the anointing of the Holy Spirit, that we'll see things happen there that maybe we haven't seen in a long time, if ever. But what a way to get the three angels' messages to the world.
That's right. And now another thing we want to talk about are the type of programs we're making, because some people, even here at 3ABN, don't understand what 3ABN Australia is doing. We don't have our own channel in Australia. We actually make programs in the studios down there to supplement 3ABN's lineup. So we send our programs here. Once we've made them, they've been edited and everything, and they go up onto 3ABN International, which is seen from over Iceland, England, through to New Zealand, and from Russia to South Africa. So that huge part of the world actually gets the 3ABN International signal through satellite. But of course the whole world can watch now through internet.
Yes.
That's right.
That's exciting.
So people in other parts of the world can watch, and on our website you can actually go in and watch programs on catch-up for 3 weeks. Once it's aired, for 3 weeks it's available to watch and any time you want.
That's pretty good. Called catch-up. We call it programming on demand, and they call it catch-up. I think I like catch-up better.
Well, you can catch up on the program.
That's right. I got it.
Right,
I got it. I like
and so all of our programs are available that way for 3 weeks after they've aired. And then if they're in a cycle, or like a season or something, then it can come back around. You can watch it again if you missed it in that 3 weeks.
Nice.
You know what's exciting, Danny? We attended some camp meetings recently, just in the last couple of months, and we're finding older folk getting more and more of this new technology, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Smartphones, and I was showing them that you can download a free app, and you can do that, 3ABN, and you can actually go on there and look at all the programs. And if you haven't done that, I'd encourage you, because they were absolutely fascinated by it, because they can actually put on the music 24 our music channel, radio channel, and they can Bluetooth it to the radio in the car. They can listen to 3ABN wherever they go.
That's right.
And they just said,
we do
that's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah, when we're travelling, I put on my phone, I put the 3ABN radio on there, and we listen as we drive along.
Yes.
And you can listen to 3ABN Australia radio on there also. So
Yes.
there's a choice.
God has made a way through technology for the gospel to get everywhere really quickly. I mean, we are, as we say here, we're in the toenails of the image of Daniel. And so God has made a way through technology for every human being to hear the gospel.
They even get more excited when they say, can we watch it on there? And I say, yes, but don't use it too much, because you use up all your data.
Now, the programs that we make, we have an interview program like this one.
Okay.
John and I host that.
What's it called?
3ABN Now.
Oh, nice.
And I want to just show you a photo of some people that we have interviewed. This is just a few of them that you would know.
Okay, sure.
Now, Clifford Goldstein. Now, that was interesting.
Absolutely.
Jamie George. And the next one
He's an incredible violinist.
The next one after Jamie George will be Kay Kuzma. You know Kay Kuzma really well.
For a long time.
And then we have Manuel Escorcio from South Africa. He's been here at different times doing music over the years. This one, you know, Nice Collins.
Oh, yes. He's on Dare to Dream, too.
Yeah, that's right. And the next one is Tom Evans. Now, Tom's from Texas, and he's our new conference president.
Okay.
But he knows Jim Gilly really well. And so Tom came on.
Got a 3ABN pen on.
He had, well, they all do. But the next one is the one we did last year, and it's all the staff with Ted and Nancy Wilson.
Oh, great.
So they came on a Sunday, It's the only time they had available, and,
Wow.
and dropped in to do an interview with
That's
us.
so
It
great.
was really,
Nice.
really lovely. It was a pleasure to meet them.
Yes.
And we had a really good time talking with them on the program. That's not all our staff, that's some of them. Now this is Let God Speak, our Sabbath School program. And that's some
Okay.
of the panel. We have 2 panel members and a host. And they talk about the Sabbath School lesson as they're going through.
Wonderful.
So that's another program we make. Now this is Dr. Eddie Ramirez. He has been in our healthy living programs, and he's coming back to do more. This will be the 3rd time he's been with us. Very interesting man. He works at WEMA, and he's the research specialist for Neil Nedley.
Oh,
The doctor also.
Yeah.
And this is Dr. Andrew Pennington from Sydney with our hostess for the program, Margot Marshall, and this is on the set for the last series that we
Great.
did. This is the food sense set. That's our video wall at the back with all the fruit and vegetable. And we did a pseudo shopping centre.
Nice.
You know, going to the supermarket.
Yes.
And it was really lots of fun with the 5 people who had products, because we couldn't go into the supermarket, so we did it in the studio.
Okay.
We brought the supermarket to us.
us.
didn't we?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And we've also got some short B-rolls from that Food Sense program that we'd like to show you.
Great.
It was lots of fun.
There's a myth out there that healthy food is expensive. Today, I'm going to explode that myth. Because the fact is, healthy food is the best value for money. Now, we've got some fruit juice here, okay? And it's good fruit juice. It's not cordial, it's a fruit juice. Where would you put fruit juice?
Green.
You'd put it in green? Why would you
Gotta
do
be
that?
healthy.
No.
It's healthy? It's all right? No, you're shaking your head, Ross. What?
No, because it's not the whole fruit.
It's not the whole fruit. Where would you put it?
I'd put it. There you go. I'd put it in yellow.
Okay, well, it does go up the top in the eat least.
Why?
Why? Right, that's exactly why we're doing this. Why? Look, when you have fruit juice, if you've ever squeezed oranges or whatever,
Yeah.
it'll take 2.5, 3 oranges to make 1 glass. And it's quite nice, and it's easy to have more than 1 glass. And most of the fibre has been removed. So do we have enough fibre in this country?
Nowhere near.
Around about half as much as we should. So that's not a good way to go. And the other thing that happens is it concentrates the sugars to do that. The natural sugars do that are concentrated. That adds to the calories. Do we have a weight problem in Australia? Okay. So for those reasons, it's a sometimes food. It doesn't mean to say you never have it. Better to eat the whole fruit. And I think you said that, Ross. So go to the top of the class and take your books. And you've got a little Kinder Surprise there.
Kinder Surprise.
Okay. Well, a kilogram of those would cost you $100.
What?
No kidding. Yeah, $100 a kilo. So, and I know you don't buy kilos, but over time you do.
All
So
right.
there's a lot of interesting little shopping ideas on there, and the whole idea of the program is to help you save $2,000 a year
Or more.
on
Really?
your grocery
Okay.
shopping
Wonderful.
by buying healthy food, which is actually cheaper than the junk food.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's comparing kilo by kilo, or here you would do it by pound.
Right.
The junk food compared to fresh groceries and things. And it was
Okay.
very, very popular, but it's airing, and it's a
Good.
good program. Lots of fun and lots of laughs.
Yeah.
And very enjoyable. Now we also have a children's series, which is we've just filmed this year, the 5th season of this, and we've gone from Genesis to basically Malachi, the story of Ezra and Nehemiah, through the Old Testament. So we've got the whole Old Testament covered for the children.
Oh, that's
Wonderful.
great.
And
That's
in
great.
5 seasons. And we've got 2 photos. I'm just going to show you 2 photos on that. One is of one of our earlier programs from season. Oh, this is season 5. This is our latest season. We did some revamping of the set, and that one's season 4. And this is the children all wear their purple A Day with the King T-shirts. The program's all about opening Sabbath.
Oh, that's
So we
great.
have music, we have story time with Dr. John Hammond, and we have a Bible study for the children. And we have these devotionals which actually go along with the Bible study.
Good.
And in the devotionals there's different days. We've got some pictures here to show you some of the devotionals, and going through the devotionals there's something for the kids to do every day of the week.
That's great.
And these can be downloaded from the A Day with the King website. And there's 3 different ways you can print it, depending on how you want it for your children. And there's one for every week. And now we've got 5 seasons. That's over, well, that's a year and a quarter's worth of these will be available. Once season 5 airs, season 5 will be up there for people to download.
We find that a lot of children who are homeschooled, they like this because then they can use it part of their teaching program.
Sure.
Yes.
So it's very
And
effective.
A Day with the King is now on Kids TV.
Okay.
So the website, or the number of people who are downloading these
Exploded.
these daily devotionals has really gone up exponentially
Great.
since it's been available in the US.
That is so nice. I was going to ask, how can people in the U.S. get that? But just go to
Just go to the website.
To adaywiththeking.com.
Yeah.
adaywiththeking.com.
Yeah, I don't think it's .au.
No.
Yeah.
It might be on the back of this even.
Okay.
Adaywiththeking.com.
That's it.
Okay. Wonderful.
And
Easy.
so it's for children, but anybody who wants to learn the Old Testament and the stories that are in there, including Daniel. Season 5 includes all the things to do with Daniel
Okay.
and the prophecies.
When we talk to people from Africa and the islands, they love this program because the adults find it easy to follow, and they love kids doing things.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
Older people love kids'
Sure.
programs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to tell you too in reference to the interviews we do. We've done nearly 200.
Wow. Great.
I remember, Danny, you said it's over 7,000, I think you said.
That was quite a while ago. It was probably more than that. but
I
anyway.
think we've done around about 197, somewhere
Yeah.
like that, so we're almost up to 200 interviews,
Yeah.
which is really exciting.
All of this is why they said when they were traveling around in Kermit, just going from camp meeting to camp meeting, and place was so easy.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't have to find guests.
Yeah, but now look how busy they are with all that they're doing.
But we've also, I wanted to tell you some of the places that people that we've interviewed have come from. Either they're working there or they are from that country, and these are some of the countries. Solomon Islands in the Pacific, Papua New Guinea, France, East Germany, Poland, Nepal, Singapore, Thailand, Holland, Hawaii, which isn't a country, but
Sure.
that was K, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Burundi, New Zealand, South Africa, former Yugoslavia, we've had a number of people, Canada, Romania, Peru, Brazil and India. As I was just going through some of the people we had interviewed before we came over.
Absolutely.
And I found wow, look at all these countries.
You know, Danny, I remember you saying, you know, we need to have a studio because you'll be able to deal with interviews down that part of the world, but it hasn't worked like that. We're getting them from all over the world.
Absolutely, but that's wonderful. I mean, on the international channel, I mean, that says it all. But you guys are doing an incredible job. And they're very frugal with their money.
Yes, sir.
Have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But they do a great job, and the programming is reaching people. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
We've got 8 paid staff, full-time paid staff. We've got, like Margot, who does Healthy Living, is a full-time, well, basically full-time volunteer.
She's precious.
Peter, who's in charge of our audio and set it all up in the first place, he's a volunteer. Most of our camera people are volunteer. We have some reception staff who volunteer. They come in maybe once a week, or if we're in emergency need someone to fill in. And we have other staff who are paid. Our bookkeeper is on contract a couple of times a week. So we're working with a skeleton staff, and so it can be really hard to do some things we need to do, like new programming. We haven't got someone who's dedicated like Dee or Kathy in organising programs, and
That's us.
Shelley,
That's one of the hats.
but we do that. John does floor managing, he does camera, building.
I don't do
sets.
makeup, Danny.
Oh,
I do.
all
I
right.
do makeup. I do teleprompter. I do floor managing and whatever
Sure.
reception.
And it's fun. And it's fun.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth does reception, she does cleaning, she produces, or burns off the DVDs, does all the packaging and mailing of products and things. So we're all doing multiple things. Even the production crew, they all have different
We all
hats
have
that
to
they're
be
wearing.
multi-skilled.
So who conceptualizes the programming?
Well, it can be a bit of a joint effort. Someone comes up with a program idea and we can sit down and talk about it and try and work out who we can get to host something. And so we do have a production team that we do have a meeting once every now and then. But generally, sometimes a staff member will come up with an idea, or John and I, we pray very much about what we can do, and then we try to implement something.
You have some
but it
great
can take
programs.
a while. It can take a while with the number of staff that we have to do something. But we've got these different series that we're doing all the time. Healthy Living, 3ABN Now, Let God Speak. We have On the Road, which we've done with people like Cherie Peters, Brenda Walsh, Jim Eyre, as well as other people and different conferences and things. We've done Recovery Road, which is on international, and Faith versus Finance, which is on international. We have done other ones with the Witness Conference, which has its own series. And there are all sorts of different things that we've done that are once-off or just a standalone series.
You know, Rosie mentioned that we really go to prayer and ask God, and it's the safest way.
Yes.
But, you know, with that, we have a lot of prayers answered. And I remember last year, the same time, in the same studio, we had Etienne McClintock, who's our host and producer for radio. And I remember him saying that we make programs and we have affiliates in Australia. And at that time, we just had over 30, I think it was. And we decided that we want to increase our reach out there. So we all got together and we prayed, and Etienne was praying to get more affiliates. Well, I want to tell you today, Danny, in answer to prayer, that we have over 100 affiliates.
Praise the
in
Lord.
12 months.
Radio. Stations that are rebroadcasting
Broadcasting.
for our folks
Yeah.
that take the signal and rebroadcast it to their area.
That's right.
That's the
incredible.
Australian radio.
So that's just
US
1
plus
year
Australian
to the day,
programs.
virtually.
Wow.
And you started with?
Well, when Etienne came on board, there was about 30.
30.
So it may have been 40, but it was somewhere at that
over
low
100.
figure, but we're over 100 now.
In Australia and New
Praise
Zealand.
God.
That's amazing.
And it continues to grow, because I get a little thing on there, please sign. And your ability comes through the internet,
Right. Yeah,
and I
love
sign it.
You must get those at
I
this
do.
end
We
too.
do. We
because
get them, and
Nikki
I
passes
praise the
them on to
Lord.
you.
It's a good
absolutely.
method, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I sign a lot of them from Australia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to tell you an answer to prayer, a miracle,
Good.
that why we are actually here this year.
Okay.
Every year we come, John says, I'm so glad we came. I just really enjoy being
Yeah,
here.
watch it.
But every year when it comes to coming over here, he says, I'm not going. I am not going. We are not going this year. We're too busy. But really it's because he hates the long flight.
Oh, I don't blame him.
He just can't stand sitting in, can't stand sitting in.
I said, we don't have to fly. We can just get together on Skype and talk about things. No, Rosemary said, no, it's not the same.
No.
So you're talking about like Sydney to LA's like 15 hours or something. Then you got to get from LA to St. Louis.
Or we go through Dallas or Houston, and that's a long flight.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
So
flight
that-
going home is scheduled to be 17 hours from Houston.
To Sydney.
Oh, wow.
So it's a long
Yeah,
time.
you
And
get
John
stir
just says,
crazy.
I can't stand those long flights.
I know.
Anyway, I went into his office one day and I said, John, I'm really feeling convicted that we need to go to 3ABN this time. And he says, no, we're not going. I said, well, I really think you should consider it because I feel that we should be going. We've got things to do, things to discuss.
They chip away at you, Dan.
And I only went in once. And I said to him that I think we should. So anyway, I left him with it and I went back to my office. He came in after a while and he said, well, how much are the airfares? Well, this isn't very far away from coming. And I looked up on the computer and they're about $1,400, around about
Australian
that figure for the
dollars.
cheapest one, for the cheapest. And he said, oh, that's not too bad, especially for this so close to going. And he said, we'll look at it tonight at home. So we started looking at it that night at home. My mum was visiting from Western Australia. And John looked at the hours on the plane and said, we're not going. We're just not going. I'm not doing it. I don't feel convicted that we need to go. Anyway, so I just prayed, saying, Lord, I know, I really believe you're convicting me. Anyway, the next morning he said, okay, we'll look up tonight and book something tonight. And I said, okay. So we went through, we had some filming to do that day. That night we looked again, and the airfares had gone up to over $1,800.
Oh, okay.
Just in that small time.
It seems like they have a cookie on the internet.
They know what you're looking for.
Looking, so the next time it goes up.
That's true.
And John said, we're not going. God's telling us not to go by having the fares go up there. I said, well, maybe Satan's trying to stop us from going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, I did find, after a lot of looking, I found an agent that was having fares, you know, for $1,477 or something. And I said, well, it's down to that at this, and he's, you know, on this side. He said,
get it now before it goes up.
And he said, no, we're not booking it. We're not going.
Oh, my.
And so he went off and had a shower, and I went off to the bedroom later, and he said, I'm going to pray about it, and I'm going to put something before the Lord, because I have to know that we definitely should be going. So he did that, and I went to have a shower, and I just prayed, Lord, you know what he's praying? I have not got a clue what he's saying to you, but I believe that we're supposed to go. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to accept that. But if you want us to go, you're going to have to answer his prayer. You're going to have to do something to prove it.
All right.
So when I went to bed, the next day we got up, we had filming in the morning, filming in the afternoon, and after the morning filming was over, I went home, picked up my mum, brought her back to work for lunch. John said, come with me. And he took me up to his office, and on the way he told me that he'd gone to the website where it had said $1,477 the night before, and he'd looked on there, and he had prayed to God, if you want us to go, we have to get something under $1,300. I said, that's...
I made a mistake, Danny.
I said, that's impossible. Last night, they were up at $1,800. The lowest was $1,477. It's impossible to get something under $1,300. He said, well, that's what I prayed. I went and I looked on the websites on the internet, and I found some at that place that you've had the cheaper airfare, and it was $1,303.66. And
not
I was
$1,300.
home free, and he showed me on his computer. And he said, but then I looked up the top and it said $50 bonus or something, or $50 off.
So I clicked on it. I shouldn't have clicked on it, Danny.
and it said you have to ring the agent. Well, there was an agent 20 minutes away. No, in a store. This
Very unusual, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he rang them, and they said, oh, you have to come into the shop to get that discount. And he said, well, I'm up here, and I'd have to take time off work. Is it possible to extend that to me? And the girl said, well, I'll have to go and talk to the manager. I'll ring you back. So he's telling me this, and he's showing me his computer, and the phone rang right then, and it was the girl from the travel agent. She said, I went and spoke to the manager, and the manager said, yes, the manager would let you have it. So your airfares are going to be $1,254.66. And John said, we'll take them.
All right.
How can you argue with that?
You
But
can't.
right.
then they sent through the invoice, and they had a fee on top of it. And it came out to $1,297.66.
Wow.
Just
See that?
You can't
And I
argue
said,
with
it's
that.
still under
Amazing.
$1,300.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here.
I kind of figured if I had it down at 1,300, that was guaranteed that it wouldn't go.
And he said, I should have made it 500.
But now, I hear you're glad that you came.
I am.
He
yes,
always is when he
yeah.
gets here.
Yeah.
But then we've got to look at the journey going home.
Oh, it's the same way. I'm that way about going there, going to Australia. I mean, when you don't like to sit and you know, it's just not comfortable, and you're flying all the way, you know, we go to LA, and that takes hours, and then you get on a flight that's 15 hours nonstop or so, sometimes more, coming back, and then once you get there, it's another 2.5 hours if we go where we're going. So it's very easy to talk your way out of it.
Yes, it
But
is.
we usually say, well, if the Lord wants us here, He lets us know, and then we'll go and do it.
What
But you know what? What a privilege that we, up to this point, have been able to travel. That's the way I used to hate traveling. I used to hate driving. Yvonne knows now, we've driven to Florida and back. And
Yeah.
I never do that. I didn't like driving to West Frankfort and back. I travel so much, and that's 10 minutes away.
Right.
But now I've said, you know what, at our age, to be able to have the health so far to do this, let's just do it and praise the Lord and be glad. And that's what we're doing.
I said to John, you've just got to think, while I'm stuck on that plane, it's downtime. It's time to vegetate.
Yeah.
It's time to just relax, to do
Or
what I want
write
to
your
do.
book.
Or write your next book. That's right.
You guys got to write your story. You got
reading
it?
a book.
Yeah, you got to get your story written.
We're starting to put down some of God's answered prayers,
Do you need it?
so we can put them on the internet
Nice.
for people
Do
to
that,
read
because
what
should
God
the
does.
Lord tarry, we're all not going to be here forever. So let's get the stories down so they're there, and people for however long afterwards.
We've had some exciting answers to prayer, especially recently, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that one was just one illustration that God
Financially.
showed John, I want you there.
Right.
You have to be there. But John lost his phone, and we had the most incredible answer to prayer, finding the phone out in the country where we had been a couple of days before, on the side of the road.
Oh, my.
Nearly out of battery.
Yeah.
But we'd have to tell you that story some other time. There's
There's a
enough
lot
time
more
now.
we could say, but time is short. But we just feel that we've been really blessed in Australia, and you know our viewers out there have supported 3ABN Australia. I can remember, Danny, when you were saying you were talking on a 3ABN Today program, and we were actually watching, standing at the back of our seats watching you, and you looked up and you said, John and Rosemary, if you got any reason why I shouldn't sign the contract to go to on Optus D2, that's so people in Australia
Contact me now.
Contact me. And you know, I actually felt like I was sweating great drops of blood to make
I'm
that
standing
commitment.
there. I'm standing there saying, sign it, sign it.
That was Rosemary. And I'm saying, I don't know about this.
Because I'd written in a question to the guest that you had. You said, oh, this is John. I'm going to sign this contract.
Yeah.
Over live television.
Live
I'm in
television.
Australia listening to you giving me a live message,
Wow.
and you can't hear my reply.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I think about that, it really shows how faithful God is. Because he said, if you do my work, you know, we didn't plan to do this.
Yes,
Really, we didn't.
I know.
And God has provided the money now for 15 years
Yeah, amazing.
to pay that satellite. And, and when you add it up, it comes to millions. And I'm thinking, where did that come from?
I know.
Right.
I
Where
know.
did it come from?
Faithful people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Faithful people. That's what it
Absolutely.
all boils down to.
But they don't give just to be giving. They give because they see the gospel, the three angels' messages, reaching people that's never been reached before. And it's the commitment from that. And if you guys weren't being frugal, if you weren't, you know, producing, so to speak, people wouldn't give. So we want to say thank you for you guys being so faithful to the Lord in your programming and your outreach and witnessing and going to places you really don't want to go in order for people to hear about Jesus.
Yeah.
From that experience, Danny, I learned something. When we were going to go onto this vast platform, which is a government platform where all the channels that you get in Australia are now visible via satellite. So that time, when I went to discuss with the Optus company about going on there, the first thing the manager or the salesman said to me, do you know how much it costs? He said, do you know how much it costs? I said, yeah, I've got an idea. You know, we're on Optus D2. This is C1 now, which is the commercial one, satellite. And he said, it's a lot of money. And we get lots of people calling in, want to go on there. But when I tell them the price, we don't hear from them again.
Sure.
And, you know, I'd prayed about this, and this was a direct answer to prayer. And when you know it's a direct answer to prayer, I didn't have to go and have a committee meeting.
All right.
That's right.
good.
There you go.
It was God who was the...
Didn't have to
you
worry
go.
about the price.
Yeah.
It was...
And God
be what
worked
God
it
wanted.
out in such a miraculous way. It'd take me half an hour to go through it, but it's really interesting. It is really interesting what God did in getting us onto that platform, which is being such a blessing all around Australia.
Yes.
And of course the needs continue as they do here. And so I want to just say that anybody who is watching 3ABN and being blessed by these programs, no matter where you're watching, even on the internet, let alone on satellite somewhere, really listen to God, because I'm sure that He's telling many of you, please support this ministry because it's so important in these last days. Whether it's in the US, that services so much of the world, Russia and other places as well, or in Australia where we're reaching out to people around the world the same. Do send in your donations, because they are needed to get this message finished.
Well, I just want to thank both of you for what you do for the cause of God. And I'm always amazed when I hear their stories.
Yes.
They're very similar to ours. And what it says to me, Jesus says, go ye into all the world. So when you say, okay, I'm a ye, Lord, use me.
That's right.
He does. And He will provide every need. That's what Philippians tells us. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, because, skip on down 13 and then 19, my God shall supply all of your need according to His riches and glory. With 3ABN, we don't have money in the bank that's just sitting there to do nothing. But after 33, almost going on 34 years this fall, I can look at the folks and say everything we have now is paid for. It's not always been that way, but God has been faithful.
Yes.
And when we're faithful, He supplies every need. We look back to John and Rosemary, and we have noticed, how in the world did this happen? And the millions and millions of dollars through all of these years that it's taken, new doors every time new communication highways come up, we have to get on them.
That's right.
We have to quit doing what we did, or at least focus on other things now. All of this social media, all of these, the new, you know, the phones, the apps, the fast, and all of these.
Even going from analog to digital.
Absolutely, all
Tapeless.
of that.
The cost to do that.
You have to do it.
You know, Danny, when we started to build the production centre, we didn't have enough money. Well, I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll stage it. You know how you can build building stages?
Right.
Sure.
Well, you know what? I still sit here today, and we watched as I was drawing down on the money that we had. We're not going to finish
stay
this.
the same.
It stayed the same. And you know, we didn't borrow 1 cent. We didn't ask anyone for $1. We asked the Lord, and He provided it all. And we have a completed production centre in Australia.
Now you can just put a period on that.
There you go.
Right?
That's right.
God said do it, and you did it.
That's
you didn't have
right.
to go beg. You didn't have to do it. God did it. You did what He asked you to do. But He works through His people, as you just said. So those of you that the Holy Spirit's impressing, we're going to put up the address here in just a moment, that you want to support 3ABN Australia, 3ABN US, whatever. It all, we're one big family, and it happens. But we encourage you to support 3ABN Australia, especially those of you down under in that area of the world, because what they're doing is reaching people that there's really no other way to do it. Because when, see, this is a, thus saith Danny, but when Revelation 18, and, you know, and the earth was lightened with the glory of God, I see the 3 angels as, an angel's just a messenger.
Right.
So I see the angels as messengers. So I think John the Revelator looked up and saw these satellites in space, saw it going down into homes of people through televisions and other ways, and he fainted. You know, he says that's, I mean, you couldn't, you know, they probably didn't have, you know, megaphones at best back then, if they even had those. And yet, he said, and these angels literally, and the earth was lightened with the glory of God. And there's only one way to do that. Today, we're doing it, thanks to you.
That's right.
The earth was lightened with the glory of God, using technology to bring it down into homes of millions, yea, hundreds of millions of people around the world.
When John and I were leaving the mission field, we said, Lord, we don't want to go back to secular employment. We want to work for you 24/7 as we did before. We just didn't realise the extent of our prayer. That He would put us into 24/7 television and radio, which would almost consume 24/7.
What I want to do is we're going to put up their address, and so you pray and ask the Lord what He would have you to do. Then we're going to go to a news break and come back for a following thought.
If you would like to find out more about 3ABN Australia's ministry, please visit their website, 3abnaustralia.org.au. There you will find news and information, as well as on-demand videos of their latest episodes. Your prayers and financial support make it possible for them to produce new programs and broadcast on satellite, bringing viewers and listeners to a full knowledge of Jesus Christ. You may call them at 02-4973-3456 or write to 3ABN Australia, Post Office Box 752, Morisset, New South Wales 2264, Australia.
Can't believe our time is just about all gone. How about a closing thought?
John?
You know, God is so good to us, and I just thank all of you who are out there that have wanted to be part of 3ABN, and that's, you can be. But the interesting thing is that 3ABN exists. It's a faith-based ministry, and if there's anyone out there that is not a Christian and is watching and this is impressing you on your mind that you need to know God, Jesus is coming soon, then we would encourage you to watch more 3ABN and tell your friends.
There you go.
And that's what we would like to do. We want viewers across Australia, around the world, to know about 3ABN, and you can do that, and sharing and telling people about 3ABN.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here today, and we're praying for you, and continue to pray for us. And those of you at home, can't believe I have to say this, but our time is all gone for today. Till we see you next time, may the Lord richly bless you abundantly more than you could ever ask or think.